Well, the sports world is abuzz right now, with all eyes on UNLV as Dave Rice, head coach for the men's basketball team, unexpectedly resigned just a few hours ago. Ron Futrell has been covering this story for us since the news broke. And Ron, the interesting thing about this is that it happened in the middle of the season.
Yeah, that is surprising, Michelle, that it happened during the season, but not really shocking that this is taking place when you consider the performance of the team lately. Dave Rice and athletic director Tina Kunzer-Murphy met earlier today to talk about the future of the program, and as the statement from UNLV says, they mutually agreed that it was time for a change. Assistant coach Todd Simon will be taking over as interim coach. The Rebels started out strong this season. They beat two top-ranked, 15th-ranked teams this year. But that loss last night at Wyoming took the Rebels to 0-3 in Mountain West play. Now, the talk amongst the boosters and the fans at that point was a change needed to be made. Rice was in his 5th season with the Rebels. He has 3 years left on his contract. He'll be paid his base salary for those 3 years remaining. Rice played on the 1990 Rebel team that won the national championship. He was an assistant coach for 11 seasons with the Rebels, so his history is long and deep with UNLV.
It's a very tough day for those of us at UNLV. Nobody has worked harder and loved UNLV more than Coach Rice. He's been a friend, his family for years, and I want to thank him for everything that he's done for this great university. He's worked hard, and today, after a long discussion, the decision was made.
My whole concern is for our players. It was a very emotional meeting when I had an opportunity to meet with our players this afternoon. I love those guys. I obviously was a big part of the recruiting process with all of them, and I'm cheering as hard as I can, and I'm excited about them having an opportunity to get back in town and play against New Mexico on Tuesday.
And I spoke to Dave a couple of times, and face to face, and you know, have a great deal of respect for the man, a tremendous person.
And Todd Simon's first game as Rebel coach, Michelle, will be Tuesday night at home against New Mexico.
Well, Ron, as always, when things like this happen, social media, a buzz. What are they saying?
Oh, it indeed has been tonight. A lot of comments. We've got a few of them for you here. We're going to start you out with Greg Anthony here, former roommate with Dave when they were players. He says coaching at the D1 level is never easy. Coach Rice is a friend and a Rebel. Just sad to see things didn't work out. Also, RebelNet.com, sort of a backhanded compliment they give here. The very good news for UNLV, Coach Dave Rice has put the program in a position to succeed immediately. We can't lose sight of that. And Paul Gutierrez, a former writer here in Las Vegas, now with ESPN, he says, hear rumblings of a movement for former Lakers and Cavaliers coach Mike Brown. So later in sports, I talked to a former Rebel about who he would like to see take over the team. Already a lot of names popping up. But Todd Simon, now the interim coach, he'll have a chance, about 15 games, and the postseason left in this season.
Yeah, certainly. Now let's toss it over to Ron for sports.
All right, Dave Rice is done at UNLV. His career was a long one at the school. As a player, he was part of the national championship team in 1990. He was an assistant coach for 11 seasons, and today, midway through his 4th season as head coach, he resigned. Whether this was a forced resignation or not, we may never know, but he met with UNLV athletic director Tina Kunzer-Murphy today. They announced the resignation was mutual. The 3 losses to start the season in Mountain West play was the final blow. Fans and boosters were unhappy. Now, there were some high expectations going into the season, and early on it looked like the Rebels would live up to those expectations, but those losses in games they should have won helped lead to this evening's announcement.
Yeah, I was just so honored that I had an opportunity to spend so many special years in Las Vegas and to be at UNLV and to be so part of something that is so full of tradition. And so I just want to be there for the guys, whatever that means. Obviously, they've got new coaches in different roles now, and I think those coaches will do a great job. But I loved being in Las Vegas for the last 4+ seasons and loved being part of something and helping build a foundation for what I think is going to be great in the future.
Okay. All right. Some thoughts here. First of all, after 4.5 years, for whatever reason, it wasn't working out here for Dave. He, his wife, Mindy, and their boys have been great members of this community for years. They will continue to be. Now, he had some great wins. The victory over North Carolina when they were #1 was a high point. Remember that game at the Orleans? The loss last night at Wyoming was an all too typical low blow. The Rebels were, at that point, not doing really what they needed to do to win games that they should have won. They were favorites in the last 3 conference games. Now, I ran into former Rebel Eldridge Hudson tonight at UNLV. He's coaching basketball at Canyon Springs. He wouldn't mind being a candidate for the job, but if the name Reggie Theus comes up, he would defer.
I would love this job.
What if Reggie Theus puts his name in the hat? What do you think?
I would be his assistant.
So you would back up to Reggie? You
Absolutely,
would say.
absolutely, because I think that, me personally, that he should have been the coach here previous years ago. And I just know what he can do.
Would you like to see, number one, a former Rebel as a coach of this team?
Yes, I would. Yes, I would. And I think that this Valley deserves that.
Okay, of course, Dave was a former Rebel, and Todd Simon got his master's from UNLV. And by the way, Simon deserves a shot to see what he can do here for the rest of the season. But the name Reggie Theus will continue to come up. He's coaching at Cal State Northridge right now, and he and Rice were the two front runners 5 years ago for this job. So we shall see. Rice actually looked a little relieved tonight at the press conference. He's had a lot of stress this season so far for him. Michelle?
Oh, we're going to be talking about this one for a while. Thanks, Rob. Well, the Stars came out in Beverly Hills tonight. We'll have a rundown of the big winners at the Golden Globes. Stay with us.